Hello, FewCandy here, and welcome back to County. And I hope you enjoyed the farm and big brick industrial evolution bakery builds last time out. I'm absolutely loving these assets. I think this is one of the best content creator packs. That generic industry really needed a massive upgrade, and of course these are only level 1 buildings. The more you go up in the levels, the more modern the buildings become, and there are some seriously nice assets in that pack. Like Avanya is just an absolute genius when it comes to asset creation, particularly for industry. And we did have a suggestion from SK which I really liked, which was to call this district the Brick Lane Bakery. So we're going to go for that. Thank you so much for that suggestion, SK. Absolutely love it. So for today, you will see here we have absolutely huge residential demand. So we need quite a large residential expansion to the suburb of Tyler over here. And we're going to be coming in and putting in a small town centre for the little suburb and thinking about road network planning, which is what we're going to start off with today. Because quite early on in my cities, I really like to plan for the future. Because I put a lot of detailing into it, it's kind of not very nice to come through and redevelop areas, which of course you can do and I will do over time when things need to change. But I don't want to drastically change absolutely everything. So I want to be considering things like rail, which we haven't mentioned yet. We've got the intercity rail line over here. We're going to be wanting to bring rail out into Tyler somewhere, to get them nice and easily into the downtown, into our city, which will be over here. Possibly, I'm thinking the airport out this side as well. We're going to want decent public transit connections, so we're going to be considering that. We're also going to be considering fast road routes and how they're going to get around. Like, we've obviously got this highway here, so I'm thinking the main central business district for the city over here will be in this kind of open green patch there. So this highway is likely to split off, have one kind of local smaller highway coming out to some villages along the coast this side, and then another segment of it heading off towards the downtown and towards the lake that we have at the back of the map over here. But we want to give them alternative routes to get around really fast. And so what I was thinking is adding in a ring road, which will kind of start from this point and it's going to run alongside the edge of Tyler, go right round the edge of the downtown, pretty much around the whole map like this, or this part of the map at least. So we're going to be crossing the highway here. And again, this will give these people, residents in Tyler, another point of access to get over to our service area, which we will be fleshing out probably in the next episode over here as well. And of course into our Franklin's Farm and Brick Lane Bakery area and whatever is to come over this side. And of course this whole peninsula, which is quite a large area as well. And I'm thinking with this ring road, for this section of it around the back of Tyler, we're going to bring rail in next to it. So we'll basically have like a rail line running alongside this road here. So we want to allow for that and we want to plan for that nice and early now before we start putting in a nice town centre and detailing it all up. Of course, the difficulty is we have not unlocked trains yet. So just making sure that we're considering that factor and leaving enough space for it and allowing the room for it to have proper networks going in all of the directions that we are going to want people to be travelling in is really important at this early stage of the city. So let's just get right into it and we'll go to our highway roads. So we have now got the 4-lane 2-way highway, which I think is what we're going to use for our ring road. It may be overkill, we might just get away with a 2-way highway here, but I think we'll use this to start off with. And of course, making sure that we're leaving room for that rail being really important here. So I'm going to leave quite a decent gap. I'm going to go for 6 blocks and we're going to use the road guidelines to make sure this is nice and straight up here, and then the rail can sit really nicely in this space here with a bit of space and breathing room behind it. We'll probably bring in some pedestrian overpasses. So we'll be doing a fishing harbour, a very heavily layered fishing harbour out this side, which we'll come on to next time as well. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to be a little bit wary of the terrain because it does slope down a bit here. So let's just put this in and see how that looks. And it's not too severe, so I'm pretty much okay with that. And then what I'd like is it coming pretty much straight over this highway road here. Let's snap into the road guidelines. We can bring out a straight section of it like this. And then we can just very simply join this up with a nice smooth curve. See, this dips down, you'll see here, and then goes back up, which is interesting. But it could give us an opportunity to bring the rail over the road. So if we come here, if we're imagining the rail lines here, this road could sink down and go under the highway and have a connection off this side, and the rail could carry on and maybe swoop over this road where it dips down so that the rail line actually stays pretty level, and then carry on alongside it next to it. That's what I'm kind of thinking. So I'm not going to worry too much about this bit of a dip for the moment. When we come to put the rail in, we may smooth this out a little bit and make it slightly less dippy. But for now, it's absolutely fine. So of course what we want to do is carry this road on over, and the only reason I'd add while I'm doing this, because highways are expensive to add. You'll see like we're spending several £1,000s, and particularly if we put a bridge over here, that's a lot of money. We have racked up an absolutely amazing budget waiting for that farm to upgrade. So I'm not concerned by this at the moment. And for now, we'll just carry it on this way and leave it there as a bit of a feeder road into the areas that will go this way, and we can develop that when we come around to do that. And then from here, we're going to bring this on out this way. And again, we'll leave it like this for the moment, because this will probably curve round further out into the other tiles that are that side rather than going up the side of this one, because we're going to have this collector as well, feeding people into the eventual downtown, which will be there. So let's actually just start by deleting out some of these trees, because we're going to be putting in quite a large town centre and residential development in here. And one thing to note on the vanilla game is that when you place a road over trees, it does not delete the trees. So that will count still within your game as a tree asset, and there is a limit on the number of trees you can put in, which will also affect game performance as well. So it's always advisable to delete the trees. Now, obviously, without any mods, you're going to have to go through and kind of do this, which could take a while, which is, again, another reason why I've got this mod, just to speed up this recording process for you. If we clear all this out, then we've got a nice palette to play with here. Okay, so let's grab our collector road. We'll just bring it on a little bit further for now, so that it's definitely on that nice flat area. And then what I want to do is curve it off this direction to go into the downtown. So for the moment, I'm going to use a road guideline from here, and we'll just use a small road for this to not completely waste budget. We'll grab our big collector again, and I think we'll bring it out about there, heading up in this direction. So like that, and that gives us a guide of where we want it to sit. So we can bring this a little bit further, and then we're going to curve this round to meet the other collector here. If we can find the road guideline there, then we can curve that round that way. So now in terms of the town centre, I'm going to put in some more guide roads for the moment again. So what I want here is an asset sitting right at the end of this collector, so that we've got like an amazing view as you drive down here. You've got a prominent, unique building. And because we've got the bakery in, we're making an absolute ton of money. So we can afford to add a unique building in now, but also, you know, just be aware they're different amounts. So this one actually doesn't cost loads. It's 320 a week, which is not that dissimilar to some parks, to be honest. So we shouldn't have a problem putting this in. So yeah, what I want is this sat kind of as perfectly as we can get it. That needs to go one tile over in the middle of this collector here, so that they get a really nice view as they come down this road. Let's just check that out again. Yeah, see, like that. And we'll have open parkland in front of it, just to frame it. But that's super important for me, is that I kind of want that to be the focal point of this town centre here. So yeah, asset placement is very important for me. Because things like this, if we come all the way back here, you can see the effect of this. So as people enter the city, they're literally going to turn this corner and see that at the end of the road, which, yeah, I love that kind of thing in cities. That's what I'm always trying to think about, especially when I'm placing big, important, unique buildings like this. So there are some things that I do want to unlock within transport today. I'm really hoping we can get to a population of 5,500, so we can get a bus station and get some public transit in here, which is going to be important as well to help level up these houses. So we have a look for the moment. Most of them are sitting on level 3 around here. And if we get public transport in, that's going to help them level up as well. So we definitely want to be doing that pretty soon. And it's also obviously going to help traffic in the long run around the city. So I will just quickly go ahead and kind of continue on our residential patterns up towards the town centre area. And then we can come back and talk about the town centre design. So there we go, we have hit busy town, finally, a population of 5,500, and with that we have got trolley buses unlocked, which is what I really wanted to bring into our town centre, and to feed a lot of Tyler as well, because we had a major update to trolley buses in the final free update, so they're a lot more nicer now, shall we say. There's a lot more options that we can have with trolley buses, which is like really great to see. We've also got tourism specialisation as well, which probably won't factor into Tyler, but is worth having. Lots and lots of policies as well, which we'll come on to in a future episode. But very excitingly, we've also got bike lanes on roads and roads with trees and grass, and just loads more road options unlocked with this level. So lots of things for us to play with right now. So yeah, you'll see in the time-lapse what I did do was just come in and create these residential frames, so continuing on the similar patterns to what we've done before, so gridded but also breaking it up to add a bit of interest so things aren't completely uniform all of the time. So similarly up here again, we've just brought out some more residential frames. We can start to fill this out as we get more demand up. We've now got huge demand for jobs, so we'll be coming in and doing that as mentioned with the fishing industry down here in the next episode, but hopefully that's enough to contain us for now. I did also add in another school because we had the demand for it, so even with 2 elementary schools in now, we're still on the edge. High school's absolutely fine, but this obviously fluctuates as people grow up and over time, so we'll keep an eye on that and see how that goes. Now with the community school design, you will see I did put in the road originally and deleted out part of it, and that's because the playground's on the front here, and I don't feel like it would be realistic to have a playground just straight onto a road with no barrier between it. So I like to do this, and then what I will do come the detailing is similar to our other elementary school, is I will flesh this out. So we'll bring some fencing around this area to secure it off, bring in some more playground equipment, some more tables, trees, that sort of thing, to create a larger playground for our community school. And of course we just added a little car park, a couple of small blocks of commercial as well, just to satisfy the local needs. Again, going around and historicalising all of these is super important. A little bit more here as well. And within this we've also added parks to keep up the happiness, so we should see like some of these buildings starting to level up, which will help our, some of them already are actually, which will help our population as we go too. So we've got another playground over here. We are having some power issues, so I'm actually just going to go ahead to our horrendously dodgy service interchange and just see. So the advanced coal power plant does actually produce more electricity than the other one, so let's plop in one of these. This is actually what we're going to be using when we come to do this service area here. We'll be using a couple of those, maybe some other options, introducing the geothermal as well, but we'll see how that goes. But that should hopefully be okay for power, and actually we can bring down the budget a little bit on power too now. We also are quite tight on water and sewage, so let's again go ahead and, again for now, this is not staying here, but just plop in a sewage plant and another water tower. So I'm thinking with the water tower, what might be quite nice is having one up against the highway over here, because we haven't got any residential immediately around it. We could go this side actually. Yeah, because that won't interfere with the residents here. So let's do that, and we'll just connect that in there. And that should boost that nicely. So then we can just adjust this budget down. Okay, so we've got a nice big blank town centre area. And as mentioned, we'll bring the train in round and have a train station back here. Of course, we don't unlock that until a population of 11,000. So we're quite a way off that just yet. So the back of this town centre is essentially going to be a later update to the front of it. But we're going to focus on this area for now. Now, of course, the area in front of it I do want to be kept open to preserve the view down to City Hall here. I think the biggest asset we're probably going to put in here is the trolley bus depot. Now, it does obviously have quite a large noise sound pollution radius, so we need to be careful about where we're putting this. So yeah, I'm thinking it would look quite good here, because what I really like about this building is the side of it. Like, I like the idea of pedestrians walking down the side of this big brick kind of industrial looking building here. And if we bring the train line in next to it as well, it's probably going to be a raised one to get over all of these roads. I think that that will look quite nice next to this. So that's how I'm kind of envisaging that it will sit. So what I'm thinking for the main trolley bus network is, let's go ahead and upgrade some roads, is we obviously need to come out of the service depot there, and then I'm going to upgrade this road to one with trees and trolley bus wires, because I think that looks quite nice, and I probably do want parking on here, which is why I'm leaving the parking road on. Then I think we'll continue this all the way through the residential area like this, and down this road, and onto our main collector here. Now for this one, I'm thinking I might actually use the one with bike lanes. I don't really want trees down the middle of it because I feel like that'll be too much with our green belt decoration around the side of it. So I think the bike lanes will be a nice effect to this. We do of course have the bike lane there, but that's fine. We can encourage biking quite substantially by having two separate areas, and people will use different paths depending on where it is that they're going. We're going to feed the trolley bus all the way down this main high street and up over this bridge here, because what we do want to do is get people into the industrial area nice and efficiently. So we're then going to feed it up here, and I think again we're going to continue the bike lanes because I definitely don't want parking on this road, so I'm not worried about that. And I think encouraging people to cycle to work is always going to be a good thing for our traffic. So we're just going to bring it up to here for now, and what I am going to have to do is do a turnaround. So we'll come back to what is probably going to be a small residential district in this area later on, but for now we're going to do something horrendous like that, and that'll be okay. But on second thoughts, what I think would be good is to bring actually around two loops essentially that go around here. So let's grab some more tree line trolley bus roads, and we'll bring this out through the town centre here and across this road, and then bring it down here to this kind of straight road that goes all the way over here. And we're going to use the bike lanes again for this. Oops, because I think we do definitely want to encourage cycling throughout the city. And what we could do here is, we haven't done the highway, so we'll have to bring it over the highway. We could bring it out like that. Let's also have a little look at the model we can use, because we've got different trolley buses now, which is very exciting indeed. I'm thinking this is going to be relatively busy, so we probably want to go for a relatively high capacity one, but not super duper high. So I'm thinking maybe this design. We'll obviously do the same one on both of these because they're feeding around the same direction. And I think what we'll do is we'll go for a nice dark blue line and maybe a sort of slightly dark green line for the opposite direction. So let's just have a little look at what they look like. Yeah, I really like those. They look pretty modern and efficient, don't they? I think I can go for that. And we'll see how our trolley bus does. Yeah, we've got quite a few people waiting on the line already, actually. So let's just take a little look. We've got the first line. Yeah, there's quite a few people waiting across all stops on that one. If we take a look at the second line, slightly less people, but that's generally what happens. But yeah, I did decide actually we don't even need this turnaround now, so let's let's delete that horrendous thing. I did decide to actually go for a big loop within this, so we've got a clockwise and an anti-clockwise loop going all the way around Tyler and out to Franklin's farm. So yeah, hopefully that should work pretty nicely. Yeah, we've got quite a few people waiting, all going in this direction, probably to work. Now as well, to increase population, we do want to think about bringing in some different styles of road here. So I'm thinking actually with a few of these, like this road running along the back, what would be nice is to add in some tree lined, or tree median roads actually in this case, so that we can get that looking nice all the way around. I think we'll just do it up to that point because then we've got the trees down here, so we don't want to go too tree heavy. Now have a little think about what trees we actually want on this as well. We could of course go for the generic pine tree. I actually quite like how that looks. Yeah, I think that might be the one in this case. We'll do that all the way around this neighbourhood here, and this as well, when the train line comes in, will help to shield any noise pollution from that train line. Just noticed we've got someone using the ring road, how nice. And we actually do want to upgrade this one as well, so let's have a little look there. I'm wondering if maybe the silver maple would look quite nice here around the town centre. Yeah, I think we'll do that there. Feels quite open as well, so you can see the buildings in between it, so I like the look of that tree. So I have just upgraded a few more of these roads, and I thought it was important actually to bring the bike lanes out. So where we've got it on the trolley bus roads there, I've fed it down through the town centre here. We've got a big long one running all the way through all of the districts here. Of course they can cross the road at this point onto the cycle track there. I actually just decided to change these for the sugar maples. I thought they were a little bit more appropriate. The generic pine trees were quite big in that respect. And yeah, these trees should help increase land value and help some of these houses level up. It will also block noise pollution a little bit from commercial, which is good to know. Plus, it stops parking, so you have to be wary of that, and that you don't want that on all roads. You want Sims to be able to park somewhere. Although in vanilla it won't matter because they'll just pocket their car anyway, but to keep it realistic, you do want some roads with parking on, so that's why we've left those. We're kind of just focused on some key smaller roads running through the residential districts here. So coming onto the town centre, I'm actually going to do a pedestrian area through here. It's not going to be a huge one, just a small pedestrian area. So I'm just going to cover this all for the moment. So in order to get a pedestrian area in, we do need to now plop the small service area point. So this will do cargo and garbage for us, which will be incredibly handy indeed. And you know what? We can actually fit it down the back of the trolley bus depot, which I'm not hating that. The land is a little bit wonky, so we probably want to smooth out this connector a little bit more before we do that. So let's just move this out the way again. We'll delete out this road here. We'll go into landscaping. We'll find our level terrain tool. Right click here and just push this a little bit further back, so we've got a little bit more room to play with before that terrain starts climbing in height. Let's go back to the collector and we'll redraw that in as our placement road. Yeah, so you can see that's starting to slope up at that point, so I'm fine with that. So let's move this back into place and see if that looks a bit better. Yeah, I think I could get on board with that. Not too shabby. Right. So coming onto the pedestrian area, then let's grab our pedestrian roads. And I'm thinking with this one, we're going to go for bluestone. I'm just going to put in the standard ones for the moment, and we can decide if we want to upgrade those later. So I'm going to bring just a main through road like that. And then either side of this and surrounding this, we're going to have commercial. And you'll see again, I'm leaving these 6 deep blocks. I do find that makes a better looking commercial block if you're going to zone it in like this rather than just along a street. Makes it a little bit more interesting, so that's why I do that. And I think we'll come in with the central road with the trees in the middle, and we'll do the crossroads with trees on the outside. We'll change that back. Yeah, I think that would look nice for a design. We could of course bring in another crossroads here, but I think that might limit the potential of the commercial we'll put in there, and we've got quite high commercial and industrial demand now. Now, I'm not going to change this to wall-to-wall. I don't want this to feel super built up. I just want it to be a small town centre effectively. So we're just going to put in basic, generic, vanilla commercial into here. Nothing special about that, and zone that all in. But of course, the one thing we do want to bring in is the bus station as mentioned. And I would quite like it to be in the pedestrian area here. So I'm thinking the best place would probably be up this side. So it's almost at the back of City Hall, a little bit hidden away there. And just to help it sit in better too, because I feel like it needs more space at the back of it, I'm going to just put in a vanilla concrete path there. Now the lights are actually on that side, so I'm going to change that. I'm also going to turn off snapping for this so we can get it a little bit closer. So hopefully that concrete does merge in and join together. And that'll do. That's not too bad. I am now going to delete those zones because that doesn't make sense there. And we really want to try and select assets here that don't have car parking on them, because obviously being a pedestrian area, that wouldn't be right. So it's going to be a lot of going around and selecting the assets we want. I'm okay with this one actually having parking because it's on the road here, so we can have that. But these internal ones, definitely absolutely no parking involved whatsoever. So I'm really enjoying the University City buildings here, actually. Like, big rows of those would absolutely not go amiss at all. Like, they just look so good on the corners and next to each other. I'm very, very much enjoying that indeed. We do have to keep our eye on this because I want to make sure I capture them when they do come in. Probably with the little fry guys on the corner there, yeah. But our commercial demand has dropped somewhat, so we've got new buildings coming in, but let's just turn our attention to the other side of the town centre here. So what I would like to put in is a library, which I think would go in quite nicely here, and we're going to put it right in the centre next to the town hall. And what that does mean is that this awkward corner here, we can fill this out with a little bit more trees to extend the kind of natural corner of the library there. And likewise, we've got a bit of green belt here, but again, we can extend that there. Now obviously, as this is the main collector, I don't really want to zone along it. So let's go ahead again and use zoning adjuster to remove the zones from this road, which will make it nicer for us to zone there. And then what we will do here is just add in a small amount more of commercial. And I'm actually going to extend the pedestrian district out from this side of the trolley bus terminal here. And we'll bring it down like this, which just gives a little bit more pedestrianised area to play with here. Now, for some reason, they are not snapping into nice angles, I think because of the trolley bus terminal here, which is really frustrating. Like, we definitely... There we go, that's better. Just redraw it in and it'll fix itself. We want to go to the guidelines and make sure that is solid zoning. Because it's 6 deep, if we zone into here, we're going to get some really interesting patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and zone that. And up to this point, I'm going to leave this open because I think the train station will sit at the back here in line with the back of City Hall. We'll connect in the pedestrian area there and probably have this feeding up this way to the front of the train station or somewhere around that area. But in here, what I would like to do is a kind of custom plaza design. So we'll come on to that in the detailing. And again, like just looking at the back of the City Hall, let's try and help this out a little bit and make it make sense. So we've got this opening here. We can just bring in a very small concrete path to extend that out, which I think looks quite nice. And we could turn it into a slightly more interesting pattern at the back here by doing something like this, and then bringing in some nice tree and rock detailing in around it. So I'm thinking probably for here, we could even have a jacaranda or two. That might be out the front actually, make it a little bit more prominent. But we could try and do some kind of very symmetrical design in here. So I'm thinking definitely like the roadies, a little bit of some nice flowers in here that is a bit more landscaped would look quite nice. Maybe actually lining it like this. And this could be a sort of garden for the city council people to escape to. That's what I'm imagining with this. So definitely bringing in some benches would be good too. So we'll do a few of those along the path like this. Maybe, just thinking maybe could we get away with a couple of live oaks on the edge as well? And potentially then a smaller, maybe just a generic green tree at the front here. I think even just that would be fine. But I do just want to finish it off with a tiny bit of lantana under some of these trees because I feel like it just makes it look a little bit more natural. Yeah, so I think that will do to round out the back of the City Hall there. Like we said, we'll come in with a custom plaza there when we come to it. Let's just check and see what's going on over here. And yeah, it's a little bit disastrous struck. We've got some more nice buildings in, so let's definitely grab those while we still can. I'm forgetting what I've historicalised and what I haven't so far. We've got an awful lot of bookshops. I think we'll let this one level up into something else. Do you know what? I actually quite like this asset, but without the car parking spaces, I'm going to have to delete that, unfortunately. You're going to have to go. You could probably stay. Let you level up. Yeah, we can keep some of these on the outskirts. What's this one in here? Don't mind that too much, actually. That looks quite pedestrian friendly. We've got a hotel in the middle. I don't really feel like that's appropriate, so we'll get rid of that one. And yeah, the key to this really is a bit of trial and patience with the asset selection, and then you can eventually get a really, really nice looking commercial area. And again, I particularly like, my hint is using these 6 deep blocks for commercial because you get a much more interesting look. You'll still get 4 deep buildings, but you get some 3, some 2, and it'll be really mixed up. And we've got a green... Oh, why is it so green? Oh, there we go. I don't think I've ever seen it like that. I could definitely go for the restaurant in the middle here. It does have car parking on the side, but I think we can get away with the idea that they'd drive through into the middle because it's not directly against the pedestrianised area here. If we just come down to street level, this is the sort of thing that we're starting to get here, which, yeah, I'm quite enjoying actually. I'm quite enjoying. We've got some more car parking spaces coming over here, so let's banish those. So let's just talk about this open space here, and what I absolutely do want to do with this is preserve that sight line up to the city hall here. So I think the key thing here is probably bringing in some kind of path that is going to frame that. So we'll go right from the centre of the statue and we're going to come straight down to this road, and it's not going to connect in perfectly there. But that then completely maintains that sight line down to City Hall. We'll make sure we won't have trees along there. We could even upgrade this to a tree-lined path or something small. Actually, that looks a bit better. Yeah, we'll go for that. And then what we're going to bring in around it is a really nice path design here. Probably fence off this area. A few trees around, but nothing too built up. But just nice, heavily landscaped gardens framing the City Hall, and which is an easy space filler for a bit of an awkward space like that. But before we come on to do the detailing, I do just want to add in our bus lines very quickly. And for that, we do, of course, need a bus depot. Now, this is quite noisy, so I'm wondering if this could actually be incorporated into the service area down here, where I have just zoned a little bit more generic industry to keep our city going. Again, we'll come back to that next time. So we'll plop that in, and then we can go ahead and put in some bus lines. So for the moment, I think we're going to want one that comes out and around this part of the suburb, and I'm going to link it into the trolley bus line to make sure they're taking the trolley bus round to the industry, because I don't want loads of buses clogging up the road network round here. We've already got the trolley buses, and that should be plenty for them. And likewise, we'll bring in one more line which will travel around this side of the suburb, and try and link them all in together with some close stops in the middle here so that people can cross from line to line over this side as well as at the bus station here. So we'll come in with some detailing now and tidy up some of these residential network zones here, fill out some of the gaps and the green belts we've got along the main collector. This park area, obviously, make sure we're getting the assets we want in the commercial zone. And then we'll actually put in our first park area into this area, but it's not going to be a big one. It's definitely not going to get probably past maybe 2 stars if we're even lucky. So we'll come on to park areas in more detail later on. So I think this has come out quite nice. I'm actually really enjoying vanilla zoned pedestrian commercial areas like this. I mean, the University City assets completely make this, but I don't mind some of the vanilla assets integrated within it. Like, it feels quite sort of real looking around it. Like, yeah, it feels like it could actually be. I'm really pleased with that, just being very careful about those asset selection and asset placement there. You will notice, well, I realised I hadn't put services. I always forget. So we have put a vanilla fire station, the European large one over here, which I thought went quite well with the brick of the trolley bus depot over this side. We've also put in the police station here, and then actually quite a large sort of medical area where we've got the elder care with fence around it, a little bit of extra garden detailing in here, extra places for them to sit. With the medical centre, again, you know, just focusing on the road, lining up with the concrete here, car park out in front as well. Child healthcare clinic across the road. So yeah, we've got all the services in. Oh, I did also add a little post office as well on this corner, which I really like, next to the tram stops here. Yeah, pleased how that's come out. But most of our residential zoning has also now filled out quite nicely and things have come together. We've got this park, which is a disaster. Probably going to remove the large plaza from it because it's slightly on a slope and it just looks a little bit strange. I didn't want to just crowd it with trees, so I did some nice kind of flower bed detailing areas. Like, I like this little bit behind the eatery area here, but I'm not super in love with this part. We need to fix that a little bit. And of course then we've got the community school as well. So in the playground I obviously added some more play equipment, a few trees around. The suburban fence just works so nicely. I absolutely love this fence. A few extra picnic tables. I then did what I was kind of trying to do, like a sort of garden area for the kids, you know, where they could learn about plants and that sort of thing. But with the vanilla it's relatively hard, but I think you get the gist there. And then this kind of like playing area, patio area, which I thought they could do some activities or some outside classes or something like that on. I thought sat in quite well. And then just at the end of this road, obviously where the fence went round it, just filled that out with a bit of overgrowth and a couple of flowers. I think that actually looks pretty nice right now. And then of course the park in front of the city hall. Now I tried to do some nice flower bed designs, like it was you're walking through a sort of landscape garden, and from road height, from first person perspective, it doesn't look too bad, but I absolutely hate these flower beds. The choices are limited within vanilla, but I think you get the gist of what I was trying to do at least here, even if it's not necessarily come off quite how I wanted. But yeah, I really like how this sits in, like this view down the road. Let's just go and check it out now that we've got everything in. So cool, with the mountains in the background. Really, really, really like this. The trolley buses flowing up there, cyclists and things using this as well. Still got people using this cycle path, although now I say that I can't see anyone, of course. But there are more cyclists, at least in the town, now that we've got those bike networks in. But yeah, not much happened around here. Just a bit of fencing to kind of frame the library, so it feels like it's in quite a nice green space here, again with this awkward space, just using fencing to block that off there. Oh, we have leveled up now. Yes, we've actually reached big town. We've more than doubled the population this episode. So this is good news indeed. We actually get high density with this. Yes, we do. We've got metros in, we've got campus areas, intercity bus station as well, which we will definitely want to factor in somewhere. Lots and lots of things to play with next time. And then the last little bit was this extra plaza here, which I think came off quite nicely. I did cheese it a little bit and drew in an airport area and placed down a terminal, which was promptly deleted, just so we could get access to the airport aprons, which is just life-changing for vanilla, honestly, having that bit of surface painter in there. So I think this has come together quite nicely. Obviously the alternative would be to extend the tiling out, but this pattern may be a little bit much in this space, I think. And of course we've got the extra commercial area around this side, which is pretty unfinished because we will get onto the back of it when we unlock trains at 11,000 to finish off the back of this town centre this side. Oh, and just before we go, this view from the back down here, down this road, I just love it. The placement of this is everything. Really think about your unique buildings when you're placing them in. It makes such a difference. But for today, that is going to be it. So if you have enjoyed the episode, likes, comments and shares are really greatly appreciated. And I'd love to keep hearing your ideas for the city, or different areas to put in, maybe some inspiration to look at as well. Do drop them into the comments below. But that is all from me for now. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye bye.